Welcome to another Tuesday Truth Talks. I'm your host, Erin Davis, and today I'm speaking with Laurel, who is an EMDR therapist. In this episode, we're talking about the advantages of EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, its application in treating trauma and OCD, those techniques for making traumatic memories less impactful, as well as the importance of inviting in positive memories for overall balance. To watch the full video of this episode, go to vip.livebeyonddoubt.com. Link is in the show notes. And if you're looking for 30 ways to navigate difficult conversations, be sure to grab that resource as it will help you in feeling calm in those times when you feel so stuck in your head, don't know what to say, and move forward confidently in your relationship. Now, let's hop into the conversation. Thanks, Laurel, so much for being here. How long have you been practicing EMDR?
I trained in 2018. And since then, you really have to jump in and just do as much as you can. It's a completely different skill. I imagine like ERP, right? It's a very specific way of operating in the therapy space. And EMDR can be really technical at times. So it's been 7 years now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So with EMDR, it's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Now, have you used EMDR for OCD work?
Absolutely. The crossover between OCD and trauma is significant, right? And also with OCD and trauma, there's an overlap with neurodivergence. How can we ethically and safely hack the brain and help people move through this world a little bit easier? Not trying to change who someone is, not trying to fundamentally rewire everything about them, but how can we make everything just a little bit easier?
With EMDR, I've heard and experienced trauma therapists using different modalities, even within the EMDR. What are your preferred methods?
EMDR itself is a very specific modality. There are some slightly different approaches, but the fundamental 8-stage process mostly looks the same across practitioners. Some practitioners might go a little lighter on some of the preparation and resourcing phases, but the actual bilateral function of EMDR, which is that side-to-side movement, which can be your eyes, it can be tapping, it can be tones and alternating ears. I have these little paddles that vibrate side to side. That's the same. Some people have a global attachment focus, and some people are like, no, we're just focusing on really specific traumatic incidents, right?
I've heard they'll use the paddles or they'll just do like hand motions.
So different ways of administering it. It's the bilateral processing. That's what gets in there and hacks the brain and helps the reprocessing part. It allows the traumatic memory to be stored more typically. So, I mean, you're probably never going to forget it, but it won't have that charge. If I were to ask you to think about the last time you went to the grocery store and tell me in detail about your trip to the grocery store, unless something traumatic happened, you're probably going to be like, I got my cart, walked down the aisles, put my food in the cart, went to the checkout, realized I forgot something, went back, got it, and then I checked out. There's no charge with that. But if I were to ask you to describe something really upsetting, let's say a car accident, or you saw something happen on the street, there would be an emotional charge with that because your brain is storing it differently to protect you, right? With EMDR, we can go in and help your brain understand, oh, this doesn't need to be stored where it's so readily available. And yeah, we're not going to forget it, but just cuts that connection between the charge in your body.
With your EMDR style, do you also bring in like those other characters, like the protector and all that stuff? Yeah. So tell me, who are the characters?
Yeah. So I don't do characters with everyone and this is actually my favorite phase of EMDR. Everyone really focuses on the bilateral part, which honestly looks and feels a little bit crazy to everyone. You want me to do what and think about my trauma? But the sign of a really good EMDR practitioner is someone that spends a lot of time on the resourcing phase, which is phase 2, actually. So phase 4 is when you're like moving your eyes or tapping or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, the bilateral, the part that looks weird and different from other therapies. But phase 2 is the resourcing and preparation. There are some people that come into therapy with a great deal of resilience and they already have a lot of tools. They know how to self soothe. And I don't have to spend much time on resourcing preparation with them. This is the make or break with EMDR because you're not going to charge into processing trauma with no tools or ways to cope with
Yep.
it. I've heard of a lot of people that want to get to the reprocessing part, but they don't do that prep work, which includes building trust with your therapist. And
Yes.
you can't be jumping in too quick.
Yes.
I was listening to your episode with Dr. Nat,
Yes.
talking about how physical reactions can be. I might spend more of our resourcing time focusing on physical self soothing, allowing the body to have its reaction, but also giving you tools to cope with strong discomfort that naturally comes up. Other people, I might want to get more into their emotions if there's a block there, tools for safely accessing and containing the emotions. As far as the resource team, I actually like to
Yeah.
start with parts of the self.
Yes.
So, the part of you that is a great cat mom, the fun, cool auntie, or the part of you that takes really good care of yourself, right? That part, that's going to be the strongest resource. Not everyone has access to that. So, then I think of who in your life, or maybe public figures or even fictional characters that are naturally nurturing or protective or have some other kind of inspirational quality to them.
Yeah.
And then I also do calm place. I don't call it safe space because a lot of people that have trauma, the concept of safety feels very foreign. They call it
Yes.
calm place.
That
And
seems
yeah,
like a great way to connect with them because trauma survivors feel triggered by the word safe.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So calm place. A lot of people say the beach or somewhere near water or a fictional place. I've had a couple of people say Hogwarts, and I'm like, really? Because Hogwarts does not seem calm to me. But to them, there's a feeling they get. A step that I do, I like step 2.5 that kind of add into the 8 phase protocol is people often come in like knowing what traumas they want to process.
Yeah.
But I often, that's not the most interesting thing about them. So I'll come up with a list of their 10 best memories, those resilience builders, like being at your nephew's bar mitzvah and the family is getting along great and everyone's feeling so much pride and connection. Like that's
Mhm.
an excellent resilience builder. You were camping with your best friend and you woke up in time to see the sunrise. And it was just, you had this feeling of peace and connection. They can be big, they can be small. They can be with tons of people, they can be all on your own. And
Yeah.
sometimes coming back to those positive memories really is what helps even out how our memories are stored. And if we can link more of the positive feelings with the negative and traumatic memories, it actually helps neutralize the traumatic ones and it doesn't weaken the positive ones at all.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So the power of positivity, essentially.
Yeah, but not toxic positivity. It's looking at your life. It's not
Yeah.
solely the traumatic parts.
And it's so easy to get caught up in those traumatic memories and have those be front and center, and you forget there are all those positive memories.
Yeah,
So I love the idea of bringing them to the forefront.
because when we think of something upsetting, when we think of a traumatic memory, I like to say, okay, we're on Trauma Island and we don't have a boat or a bridge off. And that's why we can get stuck in it. Folks with OCD know what it feels like to be looping on something because most OCD processes are covert. It's actually a small subsection of people that do the hand washing and the checking, right? So
Yeah.
being in these loops, when you deliberately access positive feelings, positive memories, positive emotions, it gives you a bridge off of that trauma island. And then
Uh-huh.
you can build that bridge and it becomes permanent so that when you end up on there again, inevitably, you're like, oh no, I can just walk off.
Are there some patients who come in, like they know that EMDR would be a great fit, or maybe they were
Mhm.
recommended to do it, but they're like, I'm afraid I'll never stop crying?
Yeah, I mean, the fear that you'll be inconsolable or that if you open that box, you'll never be able to shut it. I really never found that to be the case.
Exactly.
It makes total sense to be overwhelmed by something. Yeah,
And
totally.
even in the OCD world, this conversation about how the emotional suffering is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Feels like
Yeah.
it.
With trauma, yeah, the suffering is very real. We don't want to engage in that toxic positivity. Like, we don't want to invalidate the pain and suffering.
Does it ever happen where memories are unlocked? Sometimes people
Yeah.
feel like, I know something's there, but I'm not 100% sure.
It does happen. I like to tread lightly because a few decades ago, there was this huge wave of hypnotists helping people uncover these like memories. Almost all of these recovered memories were incest related, and they were basically being suggested by the hypnotist. So EMDR cannot suggest something that didn't happen to you, right? You may remember more details or have more clarity. You're in a process that is helping you reprocess and store it differently, so it's not as upsetting.
Hmm.
EMDR can be very intense. Hopefully, with the resourcing and preparation you've done, you can tolerate it. That's always the goal. But yes, new elements of a memory can be opened.
Yeah. So then coming full circle, Laurel, what are
Mhm.
the benefits to those people who have had a traumatic experience, but they're on the fence about EMDR? Like, let them know, like, this is the best treatment for you.
Well, we make sure we can actually stand by that. Is this the best treatment for someone? Because sometimes it wouldn't be the right time for EMDR, right?
Right.
Let's say someone's about to take the bar exam. Maybe let's not process your trauma this month. Let's wait till after that exam. But the body stores trauma. With EMDR, you can cut the link between the physical reaction and reminders of the trauma. You can think about something terrible that happened, not feel physically upset. You're never going to be okay that it happened. You're never going to be like, oh, yeah, that was great. I'm so glad. No, of course
Mhm.
not. But you can think about it and not feel like your body got hijacked, right?
Yeah.
And everyone deserves that. Sometimes our brain naturally does it for us, and sometimes we need a little extra help.
Thank you so much, Laurel, for being here. Where can the listeners connect with you?
Yeah, the best way is on our website, laureltherapy.net. And we've also got an Instagram, Laurel Therapy Collective. If people want to learn more in depth about EMDR, even with a fictitious case example, we have a free webinar that people can watch just to see us like actually go through those 8 phases and imagine what it would be like for them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.